Could this be the beginning of the end of the Union as we know it? The Prime Minister David Cameron certainly thinks it's time to put a simple yes or no question and end the uncertainty.
This is very damaging for Scotland because all the time business is asking, is Scotland going to be part of the United Kingdom? Are they going to stay together? Should I invest? And we're beginning to see companies asking those questions. So I think it's at least rational to put to the Scottish people, would it be better to have a more fair and decisive question put earlier?
The old parchment records date back to 1707 when England and Scotland were formally joined. But the Scottish Government says it should decide when and how the question to break the Union should be put. And they smell a Westminster rat.
The more a Tory-led government tries to interfere in Scottish democracy, the more support for independence will continue to increase, because I think that is the case. But there is an issue of democratic principle, and that is that the people of Scotland should have the referendum on the timescale that was set out in the election, the timescale that they voted for.
The Scottish nationalists have promised to hold a referendum by 2014, later than the Westminster proposal. But according to constitutional experts, in the end, Westminster will decide.
Only Westminster can grant independence to Scotland. And so the boldest referendum that the Scottish Parliament itself could authorise would be an advisory one, authorising the Scottish Government to enter negotiations with the UK Government.
The latest polls put support for independence amongst the Scottish at between 32% and 38%.
It does feel like we're being very pushed very suddenly. It does feel a little bit like they're forcing the issue.
People will invest in the industries we have in Scotland, irrespective of what the political situation is at present or indeed in the future.
Whatever the arguments, it now looks certain Scots will get a vote, and maybe sooner than later. The relationship between the two sides has always been fraught, especially on this issue. But the suspicion north of the border is that this place is trying to bring it on as soon as possible to avoid the unthinkable, an independent Scotland. Philip Williams, ABC News, London.